Daniel Miller's new life with Megan was perfect. Newlywed in a cozy home, her dog buddy at their side. But one evening, a faint itch on his scalp sparked unease. By morning, it was relentless, crawling under his skin. Daniel, a chemical plant worker, blamed Buddy's fleas, but no treatment stopped the torment. His eyes, once bright with love, dull with pain. Megan's worry grew as their dream unraveled. Something sinister was emerging, and Daniel's body was the battleground. Daniel Miller, 34, felt like the luckiest man alive 6 months ago. His whirlwind romance with Megan, a graphic designer with sharp smile and sharper wit, had defied skeptics. They just settled into a charming bungalow in Maplewood, complete with a fenced yard for Megan's beloved beagle, Buddy, her companion through years of heartbreak before Daniel. Daniel's new job at a chemical plant paid well, promising stability. Life was a dream, until an itch changed everything. One crisp October evening, Daniel felt a faint tickle on his scalp while watching TV with Megan. He scratched absent-mindedly, assuming dry skin or seasonal allergies. New shampoo. Megan teased, ruffling his hair. By morning, the itch was relentless, like insects crawling under skin. Daniel grabbed a medicated shampoo, expecting quick relief, but the sensation intensified, gnawing at his focus. At work, he scratched during meetings, drawing curious glances. At night, Megan woke to his furious scratching, his scalp red and raw. Convinced the timing pointed to Buddy, Daniel fixated on Fleas. He'd never lived with pets, and the coincidence seemed too stark. He spent $200 on flea treatments, shampoo, sprays, even foggers for their home. Megan, skeptical but supportive, bathed Buddy, who whimpered in betrayal. "He's clean, Dan," she said, stroking the dog's ears. But the itching worsened, becoming a constant torment. Daniel barely slept, his nails leaving welts. Tension crept into their home. Daniel, frayed by discomfort, snapped one sleepless night. "It's Buddy. He's got to go." Megan's face fell. Buddy had been her rock through a toxic ex and a lost job. "He's flea-free," she pleaded. "Maybe it's something else." But Daniel, consumed by misery, insisted. Tearfully, Megan drove Buddy to her sister's, her heart breaking with every mile. Their bungalow, once filled with laughter, grew silent, the strain palpable. Daniel's symptoms escalated. Small bumps appeared on his scalp, red and inflamed, which he assumed were flea bites. He wore hats constantly, hiding his discomfort, even as spring warmed Maplewood. At the plant, co-workers noticed his distraction. His supervisor warned him about slipping performance. Megan, despite their rift, couldn't watch him suffer. "We're seeing a doctor," she said, her voice firm. Exhausted, Daniel agreed. The physician listened to Daniel's symptoms, examined his scalp, and diagnosed contact dermatitis, an allergic reaction to something in his environment. The doctor suggested it could be related to his workplace, maybe from protective gear or chemical exposure. Daniel left with antihistamines and a medicated cream, hopeful for the first time in months. But within days, it was clear the treatment wasn't working. 2 months into this ordeal, the situation took a disturbing turn. The bumps on Daniel's scalp began to change. From some of them, thin, thread-like fibers emerged, barely visible at first, but undeniable. They were different colors, black, blue, and even red. Daniel tried not to think about what it meant, but deep down, a growing fear took hold. His body ached, fever spiked, and fatigue weighed him down. He dragged himself to work, his hat a constant shield, but the itching was unbearable, like fire under his skin. Megan, still stung by Buddy's absence, noticed Daniel's worsening state. His once steady hands trembled. His eyes were sunken. She pushed aside their tension, her love stronger than her hurt. One evening, after another exhausting day, Daniel sat on the edge of bed, head in his hands, utterly defeated. "I can't do this anymore," he whispered. Megan, heartbreaking, offered to help apply the cream to areas he couldn't reach. She switched on the bright bedside lamp, parted his hair, and froze. The bumps looked different, angrier, more unnatural. She grabbed her reading glasses, then reached for a magnifying glass from her nightstand drawer. What she saw made her heart pound. The fibers weren't scabs or hair. They were foreign, unnatural strands pushing out from his skin. Under the magnified light, she could see them clearly, their colors vivid against the pale of his scalp. A wave of horror washed over her, and an involuntary scream escaped her lips, filling the room. They didn't wait. Within the hour, they were at the emergency room. Daniel, pale and shaking, recounted his symptoms to a dermatologist familiar with rare conditions. After examining his scalp, she diagnosed Morgellons disease, a controversial illness many in the medical community dismissed as psychological. But Daniel's case didn't fit neatly into that explanation. When he mentioned working at the chemical plant, the doctor's eyes sharpened. "We need to test you further," she said, ordering blood work and skin samples. The results were alarming. Air quality reports revealed dangerously high levels of airborne fibers and chemical particles in the plant. Over the years, several workers had developed unexplained skin conditions, but without an obvious cause, their symptoms had been overlooked. In Daniel's case, the constant exposure, combined with a heightened sensitivity, had likely triggered his illness. The dermatologist explained. Tiny synthetic fibers from the plant's processes had embedded in his skin, causing inflammation and the bizarre protrusions. Daniel's world tilted. He'd blamed Buddy, pushed Megan to give up her dog, and nearly shattered their marriage. All for nothing. The real culprit was his workplace, a place he'd trusted. Lying in a hospital bed, he felt the weight of his mistake. Megan sat beside him, her hand on his, her silence heavy with forgiveness. He picked up his phone, voice breaking, and called her. "I'm so sorry," he said. "Please bring Buddy home." Megan didn't hesitate. The next day, Buddy bounded back into the bungalow, tail wagging, oblivious of the storm he'd weathered. He curled up beside Daniel, who stroked his fur, tears in his eyes. The simple act felt like a lifeline, a step toward healing more than just his skin. Daniel transferred to a safer department at the plant, one with strict ventilation protocols, and began treatment under the dermatologist's care. She prescribed antifungals, steroids, and a regimen to detoxify his system, acknowledging Morgellons' physical basis despite its controversy. Progress was slow. Weeks of painful applications, follow-ups, and support group meetings with others who'd faced similar symptoms. The itching eased, the bumps faded, and the fibers stopped appearing, but Daniel's scars, both physical and emotional, remained. Megan and Daniel faced their strained marriage head-on. The ordeal had tested them, exposing cracks in their young love. Daniel's guilt over Buddy was a constant ache. Megan's hurt over his accusations lingered. Yet they talked, raw, honest conversations late into the night. Daniel apologized for his tunnel vision, for letting pain cloud his judgment. Megan admitted her own stubbornness, holding on to resentment instead of pushing harder for answers. They learned to listen, to lean on each other. Buddy became their bridge. His playful nudges and contented purrs filled the bungalow with warmth, reminding them of what they'd built together. Megan redesigned their living room, adding Buddy's bed next to the couch, a symbol of their recommitment. Daniel joined a workplace safety advocacy group, channeling his anger at the plant's negligence into change. He learned other workers had suffered in silence, their symptoms dismissed as stress or delusion. His case, now documented, sparked an investigation into the plant's practices. One evening, Daniel and Megan sat on their porch. Buddy sprawled across their laps. The chemical plant, under scrutiny, faced fines and mandatory upgrades. Daniel's health improved, though flare-ups reminded him of his body's fragility. He looked at Megan, her hand in his, and felt a quiet strength. They'd nearly lost each other, but the fight had forged something stronger, a partnership rooted in resilience. The dermatologist, Dr. Patel, checked in regularly, impressed by Daniel's recovery. "You're lucky," she said. "Most don't get answers." Daniel nodded, thinking of the workers still suffering, their stories buried. He shared his experience in the support group, urging others to demand testing, to fight dismissal. Megan, inspired, designed a website for Morgellons patients, amplifying their voices. Their bungalow, once a battleground, became a haven again. Buddy's presence, once a point of conflict, now grounded them. Daniel's scars faded, but the lessons endured. Trust, persistence, and the courage to face uncomfortable truths. The plant's negligence had nearly broken them, but their love and the dog's loyalty pulled them through. Daniel Miller's relentless itching, mistaken for a pet allergy, revealed a chilling truth. Morgellons disease, triggered by toxic fibers from his chemical plant job. His misdiagnosis strained his marriage, pushing Megan to send her beloved dog, Buddy, away. A dermatologist's expertise and environmental tests exposed the plant's negligence, saving Daniel's life. Treatment and honest talks rebuilt Daniel and Megan's trust, with Buddy's return symbolizing their healing. Their ordeal sparked workplace reforms, giving voice to others. Would you push past dismissal to uncover a hidden illness? Daniel's story proves resilience and love can triumph over unseen dangers.